Hey guys, today what we're going to do is we're going to try something brand new. And we are going to
try
something brand new.
And we are going to add integers.
I'm gonna write it down.
And this is a very, very important
Add
skill for later on.
Integers.
And this is a very,
Add
very important
integers.
skill for later on. And we've been working with integers, so you know that they
Add
are
integers.
positive and negative
And
numbers.
we've been working with integers, so you
And we're
know
gonna
that
add
they
them
are
together.
positive and negative.
So what we're going to
numbers.
start with is we're going to start with something
We're
very,
gonna
very
add them
simple.
together.
So what we're going to
2
start with is we're going to
plus
start with something
7.
very, very simple. Because those are
Um,
both integers. What's 2 plus 7?
plus
That
7.
equals 9. Because those are both integers. What's 2 plus 7?
Now,
that's
that
very
equals
easy because they're both
9.
positive integers.
Now, when we add
That's
integers,
very easy because they're both
let me
positive
change
integers.
this.
Let's say it's negative 2
when we
plus
add
negative
integers,
7.
let
Let
me change this.
Gets a
Let's say it's
little bit more
negative
tricky.
2
Plus negative
because
7.
now we're talking about
That one
negatives.
gets a little bit more tricky.
negative 2 plus negative
Because
7.
now
It's
we're
like
talking
saying
about
that you have
negatives.
two little negative signs.
So negative 2
So
plus
for 2,
negative
and
7
then I'm going
is
to put
like
7
saying
more
that you
over
have
here.
2
3,
little negative
4,
signs.
5, 6. So for
7.
2, and then I'm going to put
And
7
if I'm
more
adding
over
those
here.
together,
3, 4,
how many do I
5,
have?
6,
7.
I have
And
negative
if I'm adding those
9.
together,
How many do I have?
so negative
I
2
have
plus negative
negative
7 is negative
9.
9. It's just like 2 plus 7.
So negative
equals
2 plus
positive
negative
9,
7 is
but
negative
because
9.
you're adding negatives,
It's just
your
like 2
answer
plus
is
7
negative equals positive 9.
So if I have
but because you're
negative
adding
4
negatives, your answer is
plus
negative
negative
10. So if I have that equals
negative 4
negative
plus
14.
negative
10.
because it's
That
just
equals
like adding normal numbers.
negative
2 plus
14.
7 or 4 plus 10
Because it's
so
just
4
like
plus
adding
10,
normal numbers.
14. 2 plus
Negative
7
4
or 4
plus
plus
10.
negative 10.
So 4 plus
negative
10,
14.
14. Negative
Okay.
4 plus negative 10,
So,
negative 14.
That's kind of the easiest integers to add is when they're both negative.
So
That's
they're
kind
both
of the
negative.
easiest integers to add is
Negative
when
3
they're both negative.
plus negative 1.
So if they're both negative,
You say, well, 3 plus
negative
1
3
is 4.
is negative
And
1.
they're both negative, so
you
negative
say,
4.
well, 3 plus
That's the
1 is
easy
4.
way to add integers.
And they're
If
both
they're
negative,
both negative
so
or
negative
both
4.
positive. That's the
Now over
easy
here I'm
way
going
to
to try
add
some
integers. If they're both
where
negative or both
you
positive.
have a positive and a
Now
negative.
over here I'm going to try some
So we're
where
going to try with a
you have
positive,
a positive
and a
negative.
negative.
So negative 3
So we're going to try with
plus
a positive and a
positive
negative.
4. So negative
This one's
3
harder
because you
plus
basically have 3
positive
negatives.
4.
This one's
And
harder
4 positive signs.
because you basically have 3 negatives
Now here's the cool
and
thing.
4 positive
The
signs.
negative and positives are opposite, so you can cross them
Now
off.
here's the cool
So you
thing.
can cross that one off.
The negative and
that
positives are
one,
opposite,
and
so
that
you can
one,
cross
so
them off.
these are all gone
So you
because
can
they
cross that
cancel
one
each
off.
other.
And what
that
do you
one,
have left?
And that one.
So
you
these
have
are all
one
gone because they
positive,
cancel
so your
each other.
answer is
And
what
what
do you have left? You have 1 positive.
It's
so
just
your
the
answer is
same
1.
when you have 1 positive. It's just the same when you have 1 positive and 1 negative. You
And
end
one
up
negative,
doing something instead of adding. If you have
you
1
end up
positive
doing
and 1
something
negative, you end up actually subtracting.
instead of
because
adding.
4
If
minus
you have 1
3
positive and
is
1
1.
negative, you end up actually subtracting.
So I'm going to
because
try
4 minus
negative
3
8 is 1.
plus 10.
So I'm going to try
Negative
1
8
negative, 1
plus
positive.
10.
So I'd have 8 negative
So
signs.
1 negative, 1 positive.
And then I'd have
I'd have
10
8
positive
negative
signs.
So I'd have plus, plus,
And then I'd
plus,
have 10
plus.
positives. I'd have lots
So
of
I'd have
positives. I don't know if I
plus,
can even
plus,
write them all
plus,
down.
plus.
And 8 of these are
I'd
going to
have
go
lots
away.
of positives.
These
I don't
8
know
are
if I
going
can
to
even
even
write
write
them
them
all
all
down.
down. And
Just
8
like
of
you were
these are
subtracting,
going to go
you're
away.
gonna subtract
These 8
8
are
of
going to
them
go
with
away.
these 8.
So 10
Just like you were
minus
subtracting,
8
you're going to subtract
is
8 of them
positive
away.
2. So 10
You get
minus
positive
8
2.
is
Not
positive
negative
2.
2.
Positive 2.
You get positive 2.
Not negative 2, positive 2. Now, the other thing that can happen, if you notice, both of these, now the other thing that can
This
happen,
4 was
if you
the
notice,
positive number and 10 was
both
the
of
positive
these,
number.
sometimes
This
we have
4 was
problems like
the positive number and 10 was the
um,
positive number. 7
sometimes
plus
we have problems
negative
like
3.
So let's try that one.
7
plus
negative 3.
negative 3.
I'm going to subtract.
So let's
7
try that one.
minus 3.
7 plus negative 3.
4.
I'm going to subtract.
And it's going to be
7
positive
minus
because
3.
7 is bigger.
4.
Because I'd have
And it's
7
going to be
pluses,
positive because 7 is bigger. Because I'd have 7 pluses
and 3 minuses,
So all these would cancel.
and 3
And I'd have
minuses,
4 positive. Now I'm going to switch that around and see
So
if you
all
can
these
handle
would
one like
cancel.
this. And I'd have 4
What if I
positive.
made it negative
I'm going to switch that
7
around and see if you can handle one like
plus
this.
3.
What if I made it negative
Ooh,
7?
that one's different.
Plus, you
3.
still subtract 7 minus
Ooh,
3.
that one's different.
What is 7 minus 3?
still
subtract.
It's 4.
7 minus
But
3.
this time,
what is 7
the
minus
7
3? Has the negative,
4.
and it's the bigger number.
But this
So
time,
since the bigger number
the
has the
7
negative,
has
my
the
4,
negative,
and it's
my
the bigger
answer
number.
has to have the
so
negative.
since the bigger number has the
'Cause I would
negative,
have
my
7
4,
negatives.
my answer has to have the negative.
Like that.
Because I would have
And
7
I'd have
negatives.
3 positives. Like that.
So that means
And
I
I
can
have
cross
3
off
positives.
3 of my negatives. So that means I can cross off, these cancel each other. The 3 of my
pluses and
negatives
minuses
are opposites, they cancel. Because these
And if you
cancel
look,
each
I
other.
have
The pluses and
4
minuses
negatives
are
left.
opposites, they cancel. And if you look, I
So,
have
adding
4
integers
negatives
left.
Sometimes you have to use subtraction. So,
So,
let's try
adding
negative
integers
3. Sometimes you have to use
plus
subtraction.
1.
So let's try
Well, what's
negative
3 minus
3
1?
plus
3 minus 1 is
1.
2.
Well,
But
what's
my
3
3
is the
minus
bigger
1.
number, right? 3 is
3
bigger
minus
and it
1
has
is
the
2.
negative sign. But
So
my
negative
3
2.
is the bigger number, right? 3 is bigger and it has
Well,
the
you'll have to
negative
look
sign.
and see which
So
way you're
negative
going to
2.
do things.
Okay, you have to decide.
Well, you'll have to
Am
look
I
and see
going
which way
to
you're going to do
have
things.
to
Okay, you have to
Make
decide.
them a minus
Am
2,
I going
or is it
to
going to be a positive
have
2?
to
This one was a negative
make 'em a
because
minus
this
2,
sign, or is it going to
was
be a positive
with the
2?
3, the bigger
This one was a
number.
negative
I'm
because
gonna go back up
this
here for a
sign
second.
was
Remember these ones
with the 3, the bigger
they
number.
were both negatives.
I'm going to go
2
back up here for a
negatives,
second.
You
Remember
just
these
add.
ones. So if you have
They were
2
both
negatives,
negatives.
2 negatives, you just add. So if you have 2
You
negatives,
just add.
if I scroll up here again,
You
if
just
you have
add.
1 positive and 1 negative, if I scroll
subtract.
up here again, if you have 1
then
positive
after
and
you
1
subtract,
negative, you
you
have to decide is your
you
answer
subtract.
positive or then
Negative.
after you subtract, you have to decide is your answer positive or negative.